Hi guys, this is Joseline Nicholas. I'm here with tips and tricks for first-time home buyers in this market. So to start, I'm making this video because I've had a few first-time home buyers who've reached out to me asking for specific tips on how to navigate the current market. So if such buyers come to me, this is what I tell them. First of all, we need to get a solid understanding of your financial situation. What that means is this market being as crazy as it is, very low inventory, high demand, bidding wars everywhere. I want you to know that in this video, I'll cover things like how to avoid bidding wars, how to increase your purchasing power, and also some of the things that you can do to make sure that you're out there winning. So the first thing, as I said, was to understand your financial situation. What that means is I need you to connect with a mortgage broker. If you don't have one, let me know. I do have some really good connections with a mortgage broker. So you can connect with a mortgage broker who will unpack everything, look at what you're able to afford. Once we know exactly what your budget is, for example, if we know that your budget is $700,000 or $800,000, then step 2 is to eliminate the things that you don't want to have. I have people who come to me and say, Joseline, I don't want a pool. In that case, we will eliminate all the properties that have pools to make sure that we have the properties that meet your criteria. Why is it important to eliminate everything that doesn't work? It's because it will help you be more decisive. The key in this market, I find, is to know exactly what you want so we can go out there and find it. And I find that the buyers that are most successful are the ones who have a clear understanding of what they really want. If somebody comes to me and say, I want a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, bungalow style, this and that, I'd be like, yeah, there's a lot of those, but how can we dig deeper and be so clear about things like neighborhood, location? You know, like we just want to be so sure about what you want because it makes it easier to find. Okay, so we know exactly what you don't want. The next step is to look at the must-haves. What are things that are non-negotiable? I must have a big backyard. I must have a double-car garage. I must have a bungalow. I don't want stairs. If we know that, then that helps us narrow it down even more. The key here is to focus. We don't want to waste your time or waste your resources by going to all these different showings when we know that that property doesn't meet your criteria. So the more we can understand exactly what we want, we will have the ability to save you time, to eliminate all the choices that don't meet the criteria, and at the same time, focus more on the ones that actually meet what you're looking for. So once we've done this, we'll go out there, we'll start searching. On average, I'm finding in this market that it takes about 3 weeks for my clients to find a desired home. And once we take them through this process, we usually go out like 3 or 4 times looking. And as I said, within 3-week period of actively looking, we end up finding a home. So my next point, I want to cover some of the tricks and strategies for avoiding bidding wars. Bidding wars have become the norm in this market. It is literally what every person is doing out there. Majority of listing agents are just doing bidding wars. They list the property at way under market and then they hold offers. And one thing that has happened is a lot of buyers come without really understanding how the bidding wars work. They see a home, it's listed for $699, they love it, it matches their criteria, nothing like they've seen before, and they want to buy it. And in most cases, I'm having to explain that the property is worth more. It's just listed for $699 to attract attention so that people can go and end up in a bidding war, really. So I want you to understand that sometimes the homes you're looking at in those purchase price, that is not the actual value of the home. In most cases, these homes are undervalued to attract attention, to have more buyers go to see these homes, and in the end, people end up in a bidding war. It's just the reality of the market. So what I want to say about that is when you see a home like that, a lot of the times what I'm having my clients do is we start to look, way below your budget. So if somebody comes to me, their budget is $900,000 for a detached home in, let's say, for example, Guelph, then I start looking for homes anything above 500. So I'll be looking from 500 to 900. That way, if they see a home that they really love that is listed for 600, we can actually pursue that home, and with the bidding war situation that's happening, we might end up in the $800,000 or $900,000. Now, I also want to mention that it does not mean that my clients overpay. It does not mean that those people are overpaying. I always make sure that none of my clients are overpaying for a property. How do we do that? We look at comparable properties. I don't want my client paying a dime over what the property is worth. So we always make sure that we understand the market, and we know that whatever the client is paying for today, if the bank was to do an appraisal, the appraiser will come at that price or below that price. So that is something that we're always watching. So in terms of avoiding bidding wars, one thing you have to do is to consider properties that are not on market. That is one way where my clients are avoiding bidding wars. So we're able to give them off-market opportunities. If you're looking for off-market opportunities, let me know. We do have a pool of people that we speak to on a regular basis who are thinking to sell but don't want to go to market. You might ask, why don't they want to go to market? Sometimes people have personal reasons. Maybe they want to save time. Maybe they're afraid of COVID, or maybe sometimes I've had to deal with situations where somebody is a prominent figure in the community and they don't want everybody to know that their home is being sold. So they opt to sell off market. So there's just different situations that will cause people to sell off market. On that same point, sometimes I actually look at properties that have been on the market longer. What happens with those properties? In most cases, the two common reasons why a property will sit on market longer, one is that it's overpriced, right? And I've seen that sometimes when they sit on market for 3 months in this market, they know that they're overpriced. So sometimes when you go to them with a fair price, that is what the property is worth, if you can justify it, they will take the offer. One of my clients just bought a condo for $360,000. That condo was initially listed for $450,000. And over a period of a few weeks, the seller realized that this property was way overpriced and nobody would pay that much. My client was able to go in and buy it for $360,000, right? So such situations like that, we didn't have a bidding war, and it was an easy and seamless experience because I was able to justify to the seller and the seller's agent that the comparables suggest a purchase price of $360,000. Another thing that also I like to look at is to look at properties before they go to market. So whoever you're working with or the agent you're working with, sometimes they have listings before they go to market. So you can look at, we call these exclusive listings. Sometimes if, for example, I have a listing that's going to market, it meets my client's expectations, sometimes you can speak to the seller, and if they'll take an offer before it goes to market, then that could happen. Another point I want to speak to is about increasing your purchasing power. The reason I'm talking about this is because we're seeing, and this is happening to my clients too, that people are quickly getting outpriced. What I mean by that is that prices are going up. So if you started looking for a home in June, for example, from June to today, if you haven't found what you're looking for, prices have gone up at least $100,000 to $150,000. So now what you could have gotten in June, you'd have to pay $150,000 more to get that. So now I just want to give a few tricks and strategies as to how you can increase your purchasing power. So number one would be to work with family and friends. The banks, on a lot of the times, they'll allow gifts, like monetary gifts from family and friends. So if you have a low down payment and you'd like to increase a down payment, a lot of the times you can take a gift from your mom, from your dad, from your brother, from your sister, and you can use that towards the down payment for a home. Point number two is you can get your immediate family member to co-sign with you. So if you have a mom who is working, you can get her to co-sign with you, therefore increasing your purchasing power as well. Another thing that you can also do is that as a first-time home buyer, you are allowed to tap into your RSPs. So if you have savings, you've been working for a long time, you're allowed to tap into that and use that towards your down payment. Another way that I would suggest you can pay off you can increase your purchasing power is to pay off all existing debt. A lot of the times I find if you're working with a good mortgage broker, they will look at your situation, they will look at your debt, and they will find ways that with the down payment you have, for example, if you have 100,000, can we use 50,000 of it to pay off your existing debt? And instead of doing, let's say, 20% down payment, you end up doing 10% down payment, but in the end, you have a higher purchasing power because your debt to income ratio is lower. Another thing that you could do to increase your purchasing power is to do joint ventures or partnerships. So what I mean by that is if let's say you have a friend, let's say maybe you're pre-qualified for a $300,000 home right now in this market. Now in this market, it's really hard to find that unless you're looking for a one-bedroom condo in certain markets. But if you also have a friend who's pre-approved for, let's say, another 300, now the two of you can put together and buy a $600,000 home. And you can, I've seen it in situations where siblings partner together, they buy a home, they wait 2 years, they refinance, and the one sibling helps the other to get a second home. So you can work with your immediate family members or your trusted friends to create partnerships that will allow you to afford homes in this market. Anyways, I hope that was very helpful. In summary, I would say the key is to get a good understanding of what you're looking for so that we can go out there and find it. And if we can't do that, there are a lot of strategies that you could use to increase your purchasing power or to avoid bidding wars. If you have any question about anything, do connect with me. My contact information will be found below. So do connect with me and I'll be happy to help where I can. Thank you again and have an awesome day. Bye.